Hello everyone. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. My name is, as maybe some of you already know, Orlando Legado Mata, and I'm incredibly happy to be here with you today. Can I check everybody can hear me? Because it's one of the things that you always need to check. So maybe our friends from Cambridge, can you confirm? Yes, fantastic, awesome. Everybody can hear us.
Yes, we can.
Fantastic, loud and clear. So thank you, everyone. Like I said, my name is Orlando Delgado Mata, and I'm incredibly happy to be here with you today. We have so many different people from so many different places. I saw a couple of states in the chat box. So we cannot name all of the places that everybody is tuning from, but I would like to welcome everybody to this Cambridge webinar today. And we have our friends from Cambridge. So let's see if we can hear our friends from Cambridge, Rosalia and Monica, and maybe we can see if you can also share your screens, maybe. Fantastic,
Hello.
awesome. We can hear you. Yes, fantastic, loud and clear. So greetings, everyone, and welcome to our series of webinars today. Today we're running our second webinar for the Cambridge Assessment English series. I would like to especially thank our friends from Cambridge, Monica Mendoza, who's joining us from the headquarters of Cambridge, Caribbean, Latin America, here in Mexico, and also Itzel Rosses, our director for international exams and International House University. And today we're going to have the pleasure of
Hello,
today we're going
everyone.
to have the pleasure. Hi, Itzel. Hi, great to hear
Welcome.
you.
Hello,
Hi, Monica.
thank you for the invitation. We're really glad to be here.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Tel. And I'm going to have the pleasure of giving the floor to Rosalia Valero. Rosalia Valero, maybe you worked with her, in the previous webinar. We ran another webinar last week, but today she's going to enlighten us with so many other tools and different resources. She's the head for the Americas for strategic development and a really good friend of International House, Mexico International House University, always being innovative and a leader, like leading the change with all of these different changes that Cambridge Assessment English now is providing teachers around the world with so that they can survive in these current pandemic circumstances and beyond, of course. So there you go. Thank you for joining us, Rosalia. Thank you for giving us your time, and the floor is completely yours. So off you go, and thank you, everyone. And remember, guys, we are going to be checking the Q's and A's. Rosalia is going to be, giving her talk, her presentation. But if you want to interact with us, so that we can then refer those questions to Rosalia at the end of the session, remember that at the bottom of the screen, you'll have a Q's and A section. It should be somewhere right here. You just click there and throw your question there so that then Rosalia can help us with some answers at the end of the session, okay? Thank you, guys, and the floor is yours, Rosie. Thank you, Rosalia.
Thank you, Orlando, for a very nice introduction. So yes, we know we will have some questions for you, and I hope I will have some answers for those questions, right? And just before we start, let me share with you today, which is something I really like. This is a matrushka that used to be my mum's, right? And I liked it, and I wanted to have it here with you today because I think if you are familiar with matrushkas, you know that this is not just one, right? What it shows you is that there are different elements inside. So if you never open it, you can never enjoy all the different things that you can find, okay? I hope you have been counting them because I'm getting to the smallest one, which is this one. Lovely, right? Well, what we started with, think of it as your new English classroom from Cambridge, right? And what we have to do in order not to just look at this and say, wow, where do I start? Is to go to the different levels, to the different units. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to start one by one, and we're going to deconstruct the Your New English Classroom website from Cambridge. Okay, so that's where we're going to start. Bear with us. It's always fascinating when we start a webinar and we always say, please technology, be with me today. So if technology is with me today, you should be seeing my presentation now.
Perfect. Thank you, Rosalia. It all
Lovely.
works today. Fantastic.
Okay, so it is working. So today we're going to talk about specifically resources, Cambridge English resources that we have created for exam preparation for Cambridge A2 Key or Key for schools, depending on the age of your candidates, and Cambridge B1 preliminary or preliminary for schools, right? So we should be going. Okay, right. So you are familiar, I hope, with the different options that you have as far as exams and tests are concerned from Cambridge English, right? And if some of these names sound familiar, you haven't really heard about them and you would like to hear more, do please contact our colleagues at International House University so that they can tell you more about them. But today specifically, we're going to talk about those two groups, which are A2 and B1 exams, key or key for schools, and preliminary for schools. Now, let me make something very clear from the very beginning. In some cases, you're going to find that some of the resources are available at these two levels, or maybe just one of those two levels, but are also available for other levels, be them higher or lower. Okay, so you have more to explore, really. Remember, it can be huge and it can be a bit sort of nerve-wracking at time when you don't know how to start. And also to remind you, everything that you can find and that you can openly download from the Cambridge English website, it's okay for you to start using right away, perfectly legal, right? Because we created them just for you, okay? So let's start. Don't go to the website because if you do, I'm going to lose you, okay? Just to tell you, the New English Classroom is one of our newest babies, as it were, when it comes to resources. And you can get all sorts of different things. You go here and I will probably take you there, but just bear with me first. And you will find lots of different things. And the wonderful thing about the unique English classroom is that you have, if you go to the bottom of the landing page, and we're going to do that, you're going to see that there are 5 different units, right? Just like I showed you with my Matrushka. Okay, so we're going to be exploring the different ones. And please remember, you will be getting a list with all the references so that you can go and explore and start using, which is the most important thing. Anything you download, as I said, you can start using right away. So if we go to the first unit in the Cambridge English Classroom, or the first room in the Cambridge English Classroom, you're going to find that it is about the socially distanced classroom, okay? There are lots of things in every one of the 5 single units or mini universes of the English classroom. You're going to find different things. You're going to find, for example, that we recommend specific webinars that we have already had about those things that have to do with the fact that we are going through the socially distanced classroom at present in many countries around the world, not just Mexico. You're going to find different tips of things that you should maybe explore to work with or to use as resources for the fact that you are teaching remotely and that you have a virtual classroom instead of your usual classroom in your school, right? We're going to talk about posters that have already created that you can start using right away, and activities that you can use based on those specific posters. Also, how do you start something? Well, instead of starting just like that, maybe a warm up first, and you're getting ideas for that too. And there's a blog. In the blog, it's very nice because you can find reading material, reading resources, and it will only take you about 10 to 15 minutes to go through each and every one of them. And for, as I said, for each one of the specific topics of the specific areas, you will find articles in the blog that will refer specifically to that. Okay, so for webinars, I will be telling you that I will be showing you in a bit, in a little while, something about the webinars that we will be having very soon this month. Okay, so you will see, and you will also see where you can go and find the recorded versions of other webinars that have taken place before. Okay, so I said you have tips for the socially distanced classroom. As you know, it's not the same. We have all experienced that firsthand because we're not seeing our students. We cannot have them work physically in pairs or physically in groups, etc. But we have a classroom that, thanks to technology, it's possible to have and to use, right? But there are different things that you have to take into account. Like, you have to take into account that maybe, especially if you have young learners, they're not really used to using that technology. It really depends. It depends on whether your own school use technology as a rule in everyday classes, right? Maybe you are there, but maybe you're not there. Maybe you are with, you're dealing with learners who share maybe a laptop or a tablet, etc., at home, and it's their parents who have to make it possible for them to be with you in that virtual classroom, right? There are different things that you can do, and that's why you have like different tips that you can do. For example, people sometimes complain, I don't like the virtual classroom because my learners don't really pay attention. I lose them. I teach young learners and then I lose them after 10 or 15 minutes. And I think that's a very important thing to remember. That wasn't that happening before in your usual classroom? I mean, when we teach young learners that we say they're like little sponges, they absorb everything very quickly. That's how they lose it too, most of the times, right? But their attention span is not like this. It really is like this. So you have to take that into account. But there are different things that you can do. So when you see that they are you're starting to lose them, as it were, things that you can do. So specifically, you will have some reading where you can find resources and ideas, tips, very, very easy to follow, things that you can do when you are experiencing the socially distanced classroom. Okay, so something to take into account. Classroom posters and activities, especially if you're teaching this level. And if you notice here, this is especially for A2, right? So what I'm going to try and do now is I'm going to leave here. I'm going to be very brave and I'm going to stop sharing these because I want to go online with you. Okay, so you'll see what I mean. So let me go again. And I think no, that's a PDF. So this is where I want to go. But don't look at Sandy just now. Can you see my new English classroom, your new English classroom?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
We see speak and improve. Yes, your new English classroom. Yes.
Okay, you started with Sandy. Now it should be your new English classroom. So this is where you go, and this is why I say this is really huge. But let's deconstruct it, okay? To go like that. This is how you start. This is a very nice video. I'm not going to show it now because you saw Sandy, but I'm leaving Sandy till the very end because I want to spend several minutes with Sandy and introducing her to you, okay? So you will be able to see, as I said, find advice and activities and resources. And these are the 5 different spaces I told you about. You go here, the blue one, the socially distanced classroom, right? Number 2 is the emotional support for learners room. Okay. Number 3, very important, going back to the classroom. We know in Mexico, this is becoming a very definite option in at least 1 or 2 states in a couple of weeks or maybe next month, right? Understanding learners that as regards to different levels. And remember, when the quarantine started in Mexico, that was way back in March, some learners, maybe they did have the chance to continue their learning process, etc. Maybe for some of them, it sort of stopped dramatically or a little bit. We don't really know, but we should know, right? So there are different things that we should do. And about teaching English online. So what you do is you decide where you want to go. So we've just started with the socially distanced classroom. So this is what you do. You go here, you click there, and you have webinars. So here you have this one about time management, warmer activities, and especially for the socially distanced classroom. So you see that it's only the webinars that have to do with that specific new classroom room, okay? I told you about classroom posters and activities. So what you do here is you see that there is one for A2. You see that there is one for B1 for schools, preliminary for schools. And you see that there is a B2 first for schools, posters and activities as well, right? I will click there, but first let me get you to some other places, right? So the tips I mentioned, right? So parent group work when you are using remote learning, right? Classroom materials, the things you can use, the things maybe you should think about not using, etc. Activities booklet, and depending on the different levels or level that you teach for primary school students, lower secondary, right? And upper secondary. Upper secondary is how the Brits call the prepas, right? Bachillerato. Okay, so lower secondary are usual secondary schools, okay? And teaching in the socially distanced classroom, again, you have things like the articles I mentioned. You can see that these are things that you would find in the blog. But let me go here. I said I would show you the booklet, right? So you go here, and what you have, and remember, you're getting all the different links, so don't worry about getting all these things now. So this is the one I showed you, right? And this is what you get. This is why it's a booklet. And you can download it right away. It's for you to use. And you can see the 3 different levels I mentioned, right? So that's for primary schools, secondary schools, and our prepas, the bachillerato. So look at this one. For everyone, remember, you will have the color that indicates the different level. It's a time requires notification, so you know basically how long it will take. So this one is 10 to 20 minutes, whereas this one, teacher says, from 10 to 12 minutes. So for each one, you get the time that is required for that activity, what you will need. So you make sure you have everything you need before you start, right? And the aims, what are you going to do? Here, for example, this one for the quiz on how many, right? You have to engage students with a fun collaborative activity and to review numbers. Why is it so basic? Because we're looking at something that is for primary school students, right? So we're talking about probably pre-A1, A1 levels, okay? So for that, those are the purple ones. Here we go to lower secondary schools, right? So you see what it's like, okay? And everything you need and where you can find it and how it takes you. So for example, you see here, if there is a website or an app that's specifically recommended for that, you can see it there, okay? So that was the notebook, and you can go and download that one when you get the different activity booklet, rather, not a notebook. Okay, so that was that. So that's the tips, so that you see this is a very short reading that you can do, and you have what is the situation. What I don't like about it is that it says there's a problem, right? You know, we teachers, we always refer to them as challenges, right? That is much more positive. So what's the challenge here, right? Students need to speak loudly and clearly because they must sit and stand, or stand 1 to 2 meters apart. That is when they're back in the classroom, etc. So the different challenges that have to do with this one is parent group work in the socially distanced classroom, etc. Monitoring and feedback. So something that you can read very quickly according to the situation, to the context you're in. Okay. And then you have the blog. Just let me show you one of the articles so you will see, right? This is something, it starts here. This is about teaching in the socially distanced classroom and generating ideas, things you can do. This is a nice one, this one. Time to write, and you have power writing, because it's very nice when you get, so power, because P for prepare, O for organize, W for write it, E for edit, and R for review and reflect. Okay, what you need to do. So how long do you think that will take you? About 15 minutes, right? So that's where you can find there. And the same, remember where we started? If you're not sure, you go there, right? And because it's our newest baby, I told you, you can find it there on the cambridgeenglish.org page. Okay, so go there. I told you, remember how many different areas? 5. So if you go, this is a very important one, and especially if you have young students, young learners, I highly recommend it, okay? Because there are various things that you have to take into account. I mean, remember when you are with your learners physically, and suddenly you realize that somebody's not paying attention because they're thinking about something that is really very deep in their minds, right? Well, they can try and communicate things that have happened to them, even if they're being with you virtually. They are really there with you, right? And they might want to share things about, say, so I see my parents look very worried. I don't know what is happening. And very small children may say things like, for example, well, my parents had a very long holiday and I had a very long holiday, and I really don't understand, because they don't understand that quarantine is not really a holiday, right? Things like that. So things that you can do. Again, you see the webinar that we recommend has to do specifically with emotional support here, right? So I'm not going to show you all of them, but you know what you can find there now. Okay, so I will stop sharing that and I will go back to showing you what I prepared for you, right? Which should be, what am I showing you now? I didn't go where I wanted to go, I think.
Yes, you're sharing the emotional support.
Okay, okay. So I'm showing you, I'm sharing exactly the same, and I didn't want to go there because I want to go, okay, here. Right. So you can see the presentation I have been using.
Perfect.
Okay. So you see, that was for the, and you can see, because this is the social distance classroom unit or area, you can see that there is a specific link for that if you want to go directly there. Okay, so just fun warm-up activities. As I said, I don't have time to show you everything, and I really promised that I would try and finish this using just 60 minutes today, right? And you've seen the blog and the different articles that you can find. So that was a socially distanced classroom. I'm going to show you a little bit of the different units. So this is the emotional support, and we started doing that. So for example, supporting emotional well-being, things that you have to take into account, like being realistic. It's not going to be all roses, right? You know, because the main challenges that you have with your learners are still there. There will be different advantages. different opportunities in the socially distanced classroom or in the remote classroom. Let's focus on the remote classroom now, I think. And there will be different challenges, right? Communication is still important, and you have to make sure that your learners understand how to communicate with you. Engaging with parents, those of you, and I know many of you were here last week, I told you about the importance of engaging with parents. I cannot really tell you enough about that, because it's hugely important, especially when it has to do with young learners. Okay, differentiate, because as I said, you will have learners that did continue because their parents at home supported them, and I can tell you that that is the main question, the most frequently asked questions from parents when they contact us. How can I support my kids at home, right? And they are on your side. They want their kids to succeed when it comes to learning English, okay? Plan and share things, and make sure you're ready to level up if your students find it very easy, or some of your students find it very easy. And also make sure that you're ready to level down, because it might be that they find it too challenging, right? So again, you will see lots of different resources. So going back to the classroom, when that starts to happen, and we know there's going to be different conditions, most of them common to all the country, for example, here in Mexico, but there will be maybe some that will be conditioned to one state in particular, whatever. You have to make sure that you follow government regulations when it comes to your own state, right, where your school is. Okay, again, you can see for this one as well, you have the specific link here, and you will have webinars. And remember, the webinars that are recommended there are specifically to do with, in this case, going back to the classrooms. Resources for, oh God, I should keep prices for identifying my spelling mistakes here, right? For identifying learning gaps, okay? You will get sample papers if you want to see whether your students are ready for the exam, the test that maybe they didn't take because they were going to take it in May and June, and you want to see how they are doing now after several months. Mixed ability activities, because you know that's always the case, even in the regular, normal, quote unquote, traditional classroom, right? It's not the same level everyone has. Okay, it can change. And this is something absolutely exciting, people. I'm so happy to share with you. Guide to Assessing Writing. These are also brand new. These are the guides to assessing writing are Cambridge babies too. And we've started with the lower level. So you can find the one for A2. And let me assure you, that makes for great reading material, and something that every educator, every teacher should really have a look at. Okay. So going back to the classroom again, how about providing them, all your learners, with some self-access materials? And this is where you want to talk to the parents, because you want to make sure that they understand that there will be things that their kids are expected to do at home, okay? And you will find different materials and activities for each one of the 4 different skills, right? And how about the last thing I'm showing you here? Lesson plans. Actually, full lesson plans that you can start using right away. Okay. So lots and lots of lovely things, I think. Again, you can see, for example, they go from pre-A1, the lesson plans, to C1 advanced. So those of you who teach different levels, right? And things that you can use them online, or that you can start using when you go back to the brick and mortar classroom, right? 45-minute lessons. So if your lessons are usually what, 50 minutes here in Mexico? Well, 5 minutes, I'm sure you can say hello, how's everybody doing, etc. Some sort of icebreaker, etc. Whatever, for the first 5 minutes. And you will have everything you need, the activity sheets, even things that you can set for homework, and lots of different things that you can start using. Full lesson plans. Doesn't that sound absolutely fantastic? It does, I think, right? And then we say, because even if if in theory it's the same, it's cuarto de primaria and everybody should be here, and it's first grade secondary school and everybody should be at this level, etc. We know that doesn't usually happen in the classroom, right? And you, when it comes to your classroom, your learners, you're the absolute expert, so you know, and I'm sure you agree with that. It's a different thing, right? So you have to assess, you will have to benchmark the level of English of the different students in your classroom, right? This is where you will find the guides to assessing writing, a heaven sent resource for you, right? You have, as I said, all of you lucky people, because I know you're here to know about resources for A2 and B1 levels. Those are ready, plus the one for B2. So that's also good news for the people who are coming to the webinar on Thursday, right? Please go and read them, okay? Because they're absolutely useful. I know I am biased because I work at Cambridge English, but I can tell you they're really great. I'm really very happy about letting you know about these resources because I think they're absolutely fantastic. Okay. And how about teaching English online? Because when this started back in March, uh, several of us, shall I say, were not really ready to start, right? For some people, it was like a new challenge and quite a challenge at that, right? And we had to make sure that we started seeing how to go about it. And I think that's a great thing about teachers, educators in general. And remember, when I say educators, is everybody who has to do with education. I'm not using the term educator as we usually refer to educadoras here in Mexico to mean just the kindergarten teachers, right? Educators is all the ELT professional, all the English language teaching professionals, right? So different things. And here you will find some of the things that I've been talking to you about. So let's go and explore those right away. Okay. The digital teacher. Please, very quickly, can you tell me, and Orlando will help me here because I cannot read the chat. So does that sound familiar to you when I tell you about the digital teacher and the framework, the digital teacher framework that Cambridge English created just for you? Does that sound familiar now? Because I saw the report, the latest report earlier today, and I see that thousands of teachers in Mexico have been exploring the digital teacher in the last few weeks, and that really made me very happy. What are you reading, Orlando? Does it sound familiar to our colleagues here today? I may have lost Orlando. Please tell me it isn't so.
No, sorry, sorry, my microphone, was
Don't worry, it happens to all of
muted.
us.
Yeah, don't worry.
So how we got some
Um,
yeses?
like especially the transitioning to online devices, like how to use online, because it's incredibly new
For some of
to
us, yes,
some
some
people. I
things.
think that's one of the main resources that people are now currently using, I think.
Yes, definitely. And it's a great thing, and I'm going to mention it a little bit too. So remember, this is the in your new English classroom, you find the Teaching English online section. So if this is new for you, newish, if this is still a bit unfamiliar, even if you're an expert, there's something there for you. I guarantee that. Okay, I promise you, you will find something interesting and something you can start using, following, exploring right away. What other things can you find? Of course, I mean, we've been doing different webinars, and I'm very happy to report that we've been doing these with different experts from different places, not just people that are in England, but some of the people in our global network, right? So it's very interesting. I've really enjoyed listening to some of my colleagues right? I myself have been lucky, and I have participated in a couple of those, right? So go and see, and I'm going to show you. I told you the next ones you can find. There's also, of course, specific official Cambridge exam preparation materials, but this doesn't mean that you have to buy something in specific to prepare your students for the exams or the Cambridge English qualifications, the exams and tests, right? Because there will be also always lots of things that you can start using regardless of the course books that you have chosen to use at school, right? Exam preparation digital posters, again, really very nice. And look at the levels. They start from pre-A1 and they go all the way to B2 first for schools, okay? Again, relevant articles in the blog and the MOOC. This is where we invite you. And I think I mentioned this last week when I talked about the Teaching English Online MOOC. So let's see what we can explore today a little bit further, because as I told you, I've already shown you Sandy, and I want to introduce you properly to Sandy, our lovely robot. Okay, so this is the digital teacher, and these are the 6 different areas that you have to consider that make up what we call the digital teacher, right? Things that you have, the different contexts. So we're talking about the digital classroom, but also the digital world at large, and how you become a digital teacher and how you improve as a digital teacher, right? And then the different processes that have to do with digital teaching and digital learning and digital assessment, right? And those are the ones you can see there. For each one of these different areas, you will find specific information and different, you will always see what each one of these areas involves, right? So if you look, for example, at the digital world, and I like mentioning this one because it's about productivity, about the fact that time is limited, right? And you have to make the most of your time, right? So things like you have to make sure that what you create, if it was successful, you can use it again and you know where to find it. So you have to manage your information. You have to manage your resources. You have to make sure that your computer doesn't become a black hole full of lovely materials and resources that you cannot find when you need them, because that is the same thing as being lost, right? It's like my father used to say, right, when he asked us something, right, say, oh, I know, but I can't remember now. And he said, if you cannot remember, that means you don't know. So it's the same here. If you created something and you cannot find it, it's that thing doesn't really exist, does it? Right? And then how you become a digital citizen, the things that you have to do, like being careful online, and especially the fact that if you are working, if you're teaching young learners, you have to be super, super careful. Always careful. Remember, we teachers set examples, right? We lead by example. So you don't want to show things when you are teaching. You don't want to show resources that you have created or that you have just, let's say, borrowed from somewhere and they were not really legal. That's not on. It doesn't have to happen. Okay. So things like legal issues, like, for example, what photographs are you using? For this presentation I'm sharing with you today, all the photographs I'm using are photographs that have been acquired or created by Cambridge Assessment English, right? And for the ones that you will see, I will try and make a point of showing you, and I think I did include on the list of resources, there are places like pixabay.com where you can go and you can download photographs that you can use freely and without paying, and also important, without crediting the photographer, because you have to make sure if you download photographs from a place with free photographs, you have to read the small letters, right, the small writing, and see whether you by downloading photographs, you agree that if you use them, you have to credit the photographer. The wonderful thing about Pixabay is that you can download them and start using them right away. You don't have to even credit, right? And digital welfare and society, and you can see the different topics for each of those different ones. Same for the different processes, right? So things to do with, I'm sorry, designing learning, and then the delivering of learning, and then how you assess, how you evaluate the learning. So all those different things. And there is a framework. And the best way to find out what sort of level you're at. And here, it's not that you have to have the highest. This is to help you. It's not to show you whether you're strong or weak. It's to show you what things you may want to explore further, right? And you will be told about it. So you can join the digital teacher to use the framework. You don't have to pay anything. Another very sexy word, it's free, right? And you can start using it right away, and it will be 100% confidential. No one will need to know your results. And now let me tell you, after that invitation, please start using the digital teacher. It's a great thing for English teachers. From your new English classroom, right, you have these wonderful things, which are the exam preparation digital posters, right? And although you cannot really see them here, you will see that you have, well, for all those different levels, and you will have, again, packed with ideas, and they tell you specifically from all the Cambridge resources that we have created, which ones are appropriate for that level. If there is a complaint that we sometimes get, is that there is so much, sometimes you don't know where to find things. We don't want that to happen. That's why we created my new English classroom. And you will see that things that maybe if you had used them before, you used to find them somewhere else. We've tried to make it more coherent for you to find things. And that's why we have those 5 different units. The MOOC that I told you, I show you, I downloaded these so that you could see it. This is from today. Can you see here? I told you, I believe it was going to start again. And the great news is it's starting again on November the 2nd. So you can go to Future Learn, right? And you can go and register right away. And you see me, this is for me. I'm there. I told you I participated in this as one of the tutors, right? And it's absolutely a great experience. You can do it the free way. That means you can have everything, all access to everything, etc. If you would like to have a certificate, that's a different thing, and that is something you have to pay for, okay? But just taking the MOOC, this massive open online course, absolutely free. And I highly recommend it. You can find lots of different things there. It will give you ideas. You will be able to connect, to network with other colleagues around the world. And it's an absolute wonderful experience. So this is starting life, and then it keeps on living. It doesn't die, it keeps on living, but there is no actual interconnectivity, okay? You may find some people are still responding to messages, etc. But when you have the tutors, the main tutors presenting and telling you and guiding you, etc., that will start on November the 2nd. So please go there, not right now, but go there right after the webinar and explore. Remember, I told you there are some things that maybe you used to find somewhere else, and now you can find them in your new English classroom. You will probably see these if you had been using supporting teachers, and now you go there and find, but there's still lots of things that you can see there. We're not trying to make people go crazy because they cannot find what they used to find there. So still lots of very important things that they can find. I told you about the webinars. This is a list about some of the most recent webinars that you can find, okay? So you have the online teaching webinars. These, for example, was the online teaching webinars, right? Using Cambridge English Kahoots. I mentioned these last week, okay? Because when we talk about Kahoots, and I think we still get to talk about Kahoots because there are Kahoots for A2 level learners, right? And there is, that's my colleague Helen Allen, who was responsible for creating the Cambridge Kahoots, right? So you see, look at the different, and this is just some of the recent ones, the 7 most recent webinars. Go there, you can watch them at any time you want. If you suffer from insomnia and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you want to do something interesting and you have absolutely watched everything on Netflix, go there, go to the Cambridge English channel on YouTube and you can find all those things. And look at this wonderful list and look at the dates here. This one has already happened and it's already available for you to see, right? But look at this, the new ones that are happening. Actually, this one is tomorrow, if I remember correctly, right? And 3 p.m., that is 9 in Mexico City, 9 in the morning, because they are 6 hours ahead of us, right? So if you will see that there's always one that is too early for us, because that would be 4 in the morning, right? But this one is 8 in the morning, Mexico City time, so that would be okay. And look at this one. It's like they knew you wanted something for key and preliminary, right? For A2 and B1. And this is specifically about vocabulary lists. I mentioned the vocabulary list and how important it is for everybody to know about them. And then for the people who will be coming next for next webinar, you will have my friend Miranda Hamilton talk about the B2 First for School posters, plans, and activities. And let me tell you, Miranda knows a lot about them because in many cases she's one of the main creators for these different resources, right? So lovely, lovely webinars coming your way. You just have to go there. You click on the name of the webinar that sounds interesting to you, and then you will have the 2 choices. So you choose the one that is appropriate for you, okay? So those are webinars. Something that I didn't mention, I think last week, and this is really very nice, right? And it's weekly. If you are teaching specifically a course that is exam preparation, but you can also make this work if it's not just a course like getting ready for A2 key for schools or getting ready for B1 preliminary for schools, etc. All you have to do to start using this fantastic exam preparation planner is identify 3 things, indicate three things. You have to choose the exam. Weekly can be used for A2 key for schools, for B1 preliminary for schools, and B2 first for schools. Remember, when we say something is for schools, that is because that version of that level exam was created specifically for an age group in mind, right? So we're saying that the for schools exam, usually most of the candidates are under age 16, okay? So we're talking about people in upper primary school or lower secondary school, right? And then you say how many hours a week that course is, right? And then you say for each one of those classes per week, how long you have. So this is where you can specify. I have to prepare learners for the A2 Key for Schools exam, right? And I only have 3 hours a week, and I can only spend 15 minutes in every one of those 3 hours. And weekly will let you know. It will indicate the sort of Cambridge English resources that you can use and give you the links to everything. So that is what I call making your life easy. So for me, that's a wonderful thing. I'm sure you start using weekly, you're going to love it because you will use it daily, probably. Okay. And then the school year timeline, which is very interesting. And this is, if you go there to the link, it's a PDF, as you can see. And this is what it will show you. It will show you much more than this. But this is what you should be thinking of according to the time of the school year, not the calendar year, the school year, right? So when you're starting, when you start teaching specifically the preparation for the exams, when the time comes to register for the exams, you have to make sure that they have the level that you want them to have, so that you feel comfortable and they feel okay, and the parents are reassured, etc. The final preparation time, and then you get ready to explain the results when they arrive, etc. And of course, then at the end, the cherry on top of the cake is celebrating the success of all the learners, but you obviously as well. So if you haven't downloaded that, download it. It's a PDF that can really guide you, right? What it is, what time of the school year is it, and what you should be doing. So it gives you instructions. Download this fact sheet, right? And everything that is mentioned here, you can go and download and start using right away. Kahoots, anyone? Right? I wish we had time. Maybe we should try it and have another webinar where we can actually have time for you to go through a Kahoot about the Cambridge English Kahoots, right? These are the ones that were prepared for A2 level, because we thought about really basic levels, right? So you can find those three. They're widely popular in Mexico, right? I can tell you, all your other colleagues who have used them have fallen in love with them, so much so that Mexico is the #1 country, I believe, not just what was I going to say? Let me start again. The #1 country in Latin America where for the Cambridge Kahoots are being used, right? Go there and start enjoying them, okay? So, ExamLift, this is now a quick mention about this app that I'm sure too that you're going to download it, start using it. It's for A2 and B1 levels. So before you recommend it to your students, please download it and use it yourself. And you're going to see why they're going to love it, okay? And supporting parents for those engagement activities that you're going to be planning, I'm sure, with your learners' parents, right? We have tips and we have things that you can tell them about, explain to them, see, and things that they can do. And some of these things, yes, they will be in English. You can help them. And some things are also available in Spanish. You go and explore and you will see what you can find there. This is just to remind you, oldies but goodies, right? You can still use these and you will see to find according to the skill what you want to practice according to the level and the time you have for something. Remember, I told you the lesson plans are for 45-minute lessons. If you want something else, you can go there and choose for up to 5 minutes, right? And you will see that we make it easy for you to see which ones are of the different activities are totally new, so you can go there, right? And before Lando says, thank you, Rosalia, that was lovely, which is his nice way of saying, no more Rosalia, right? Let me go and show you Sandy, because I would like you to make friends with Sandy right away. So for these, I will go where Sandy should be, and she should be here if I'm doing this correctly, and I don't think I know. I'm not doing it correctly, so let me see. I have to go. I think it's here. So yes. So I don't want that one anymore. I don't want that one. I don't want that one because I want to teach. Can you see Sandy now?
Yep.
This is lovely Sandy, right? And what you do, look at this, it's free. As I told you, one of the sexiest words in English, right? Cambridge English Speak and Improve. You know, if it says Cambridge English, that's your quality assurance, right? And this is a research project, which means we're letting you use something we are still developing. And this is to practice speaking with Sandy. And again, this is one of the things I would like you to start using first. And for something like this, for you to recommend it to your learners, I wouldn't recommend it to your learners if they are under 16, And those who are under 16, make sure that their parents understand what sort of resource it is. Okay, so what you do, I'm not going to show you Sandy here because you need to listen to Sandy to see it, but I will, you cannot hear her, but you will see. You will talk to this speech robot and Sandy will ask you some questions, right? And then you answer each one of the questions and she will give you a grade. Okay. This is something that we created to specifically use with learners of English, right? So this is not for people who have got English as their first language, okay? So here it says welcome back because Sandy knows me, all right? So you have to check your microphone and then you have to answer questions because Sandy will be asking you questions. And this is instruction. You will hear 8 questions, right? You have to answer the different 8 questions. And she explains a little bit more. For questions 1 to 4, you have 10 seconds to answer. For questions 5 to 8, you have 20 seconds to answer, right? Very easy to understand. You didn't hear that. Could you hear that? She asked me my name, basically, right? But just so that you can see, this is as easy as it gets. You start talking to Sandy, and then she will give you a level. But as I said, you use it first before you recommend it to your learners, okay? Because it's always important that you do that in the classroom, okay? So I think I have to, oh, ExamLift, great thing to use, supporting parents. I told you about that. I don't know why it came back, but Orlando, you should be happy to know that has come to the end now, right? So we are ready for some questions if we have them.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic. Awesome. Now, thank you very much. And I think again, just like in the last webinar, I think it's something that people found incredibly helpful, right? Like here in the chat, I see people, saying, they hadn't actually tried, they didn't know about these resources. So it's great that now they know about them, right? I don't really see any questions in the Q&A section, but I don't know if anybody in the chat, in the
that means it was incredibly clear.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I have a question. There's a question from Escuela Normal saying, is there another site we can go through to get sample exams of B1?
We have sample tests for all the different exams. So when you say another site, you mean apart from Cambridge English? We have the ones that we let people use are on the Cambridge English website.
Right.
Not sure I understood the question, maybe.
Yeah, I think that the question is, I don't know, maybe Escuela Normal can clarify their question. Is that what we meant, Escuela Normal, right? Yeah, I think all of the
Escuela Normal, yes. And please, Moni, if you're there, you can share if there's a specific question like that maybe requires a little bit of research from me. I want to see, just let them have the my email address and I'll be happy to explore that further, because we do have sample tests and exams for each one of the different Cambridge English qualifications, so there shouldn't be a problem, right? So I hope that answers. If not, you can have you can contact us and we'll be very happy. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah. Escuela Normal's name is Ricardo Lagunes. So thank you for that, Ricardo.
Lovely to have you here. Colleagues from Escuela Normal Ricardo Lagunes.
Fantastic. All right. So I think yeah, no, I mean, people are saying, very useful resources. Thank you. Really interesting. All super clear. So I think you were like super clear, Rosalia.
I try. I didn't know. Apologies that I didn't know I kept you a bit too long last time. But as you can see, I really love it. If you're coming back on Thursday, we will be focusing on some other things. This time it was the time for your new classroom to shine and for you to meet Sandy, because the best thing about Sandy, you have to start using it, right? We'll talk about, and that Sandy is artificial intelligence. She's an AI baby, I'll have you know, right? And she's very friendly because she was created specifically to talk and ask questions to learners of English. Okay, we'll talk about the different artificial intelligence resource for you to use. Sandy is free. She's a research project. When it's a project, things can go wrong, and we want you to use it. And then we will ask you in the near future what you think, what you would like to see, etc. But you can start using it right away. Okay, we'll talk about a different resource regarding artificial intelligence, which is Write and Improve, which probably sounds much more familiar to many of you, right? And as I say, we will focus on different resources. So this time it was your new English classroom. That was the star of the webinar. We'll have different stars on Thursday.
Fantastic.
Anything else, Orlando?
No, just Ricardo, before I take over, I would just like to pass on this message. You know, the same person that asked about the site, Ricardo Lagunes, he would like to personally thank you for many years ago. You know, he said that, like, I think he's saying that he took a training course in Mexico City with you. You are the one in charge, and he just like has really fond memories of you. And yeah, so he would like to thank you for your time today. You know.
That's lovely. I mean, I've met some of the first students I had. I won't tell you how long ago, but it's always great when I get to hear about and colleagues now, colleagues that were my students, my learners at some point in my life. So always lovely to hear from you. So I think this is time for me to say thank you very much again. I hope we will see many of you on Thursday to keep on exploring and talking about the different resources. There's so much to explore. There's so many things. And let me tell you, there's many more coming every month, right?
Okay.
And we, as usual, what we do is we send all the information to our centers. So International House gets to hear all that, and make sure that International House has your correct contact information so that you can get the relevant emails from them about the updating of all these resources. Okay, so thank you very
Okay.
much. I will go mute and outside the camera so that we can finish now. It's your turn now.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you very much, Rosalia. And again, you know, on behalf of International House University by Mexico, again, I would like to thank Rosalia. Thank you very much. And and now that we're talking about these different resources, guys, like before we quickly say goodbye, I would just like to give you some information because this is something that people people have been asked, you know, like have been asking for, you know, and people have been talking about this. Um, Rosalia today, you know, focus on those resources that, you know, are for, again, you know, like the new reality and like, and going back to the blended classroom, the digital teacher, all that. And also, as you know, part of that is specifically designed, you know, for young learners, right? So remember that we're talking about A1, A2, and B2 level learners, right? So I would just like to briefly talk about two courses that, again, you know, our friends from Cambridge Assessment English are providing, and, you know, we are delivering through International House University. Those are CEL P and CEL S. These are two courses that now, again, given the situation, you know, are completely online. It's a completely online delivery mode whereby we're focusing on precisely all of the different skills that teachers nowadays need in relation to teaching primary learners, primary school level learners, and also secondary learners, right? And this is where we get into exploring some of those key issues in relation to language learning, acquisition, classroom management, how to plan classes, you know, specifically for primary school learners, for secondary school learners, and you know, like even using some of those different tools and different apps and different resources, you know, that even Rosalia herself was introducing today. We highly recommend those courses. You know, if you're interested in, you know, developing your skills. So one thing to know about these courses is that these are for experienced teachers, right? So if you have experience in any context or experience in teaching young learners, you know, like 6 to 12, or, you know, like 12 to 18, for example, and you would like to further develop your skills, we would highly, and again, our, you know, friends from Cambridge Assessment English would recommend these courses because these are their courses. They specifically created these courses for primary and secondary. And well, again, you know, like us, International House University, we would like to extend this invitation for you to consider these courses. We are people, okay, I have somebody asking about requirements. The requirement for the course is Margarita and Maria Irma. The requirements are you need to have, let me just go back to the requirements, right? You need to have a B1 level of English. So I'm gonna, there we go. I'm highlighting those. So a B1 level of English, and basically you need to have at least 1 year of teaching experience, right? So as long as you have 1 year of teaching experience and a B1 level of English, you know, feel free to apply for the course. Remember that you only have to contact us at International House Mexico. And also, and something quite important about this course is that if you want to get this qualification, is not just the only qualification that you're getting through this course, you're getting also a TKT course module. So if you're not TKT qualified, if you're taking the CELP course, you also get the TKT Young Learners TKT. And if you are, if you want to take the CEL-S, you're taking also the TKT module 1. So it's kind of like 2 courses in one. And also, as now the university that we are, now International House University, we are also giving you a 3rd diploma, which is the diploma, this diploma from our university, which is also the Diploma Internacional con Especialización en Enseñanza Primaria or secondary, right? So you're actually getting 3 qualifications through the same delivery program. So that you can feel really prepared for whatever situation, you know, you might encounter when teaching primary school learners. Just to give you an idea before we wrap it up, these are some of the topics that we're going to discuss. And also you have assessed teaching practice. This is a course, it's not like TKT where you're only getting the examination. It's a course where you are observed. You have time for, you know, with a tutor to plan your classes, to plan, you know, how to use some of these wonderful resources that today our friends from Cambridge showed you and discussed. So you have time with a, you know, with a Cambridge authorized tutor who's going to show you how to use some of the resources. That tutor is going to observe you give lessons, and it's going to give you personalized feedback on your classes, right? Whether you're teaching face-to-face or right now, because you're teaching online, we are going to be observing you online as well, giving you feedback on how you teach online, using all of those marvelous resources that our friends from Cambridge Assessment English have designed specifically for you, using all of these different Kahoots, supporting teacher, etc., the digital teacher resources, etc., 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 right? So examples of the kind of things that you get to see online, the kind of material, incredibly friendly, incredibly helpful, incredibly well staged. So if you are interested, again, you know, just contact your Quality Circle school, your Quality Circle school representative, if you have one already. And if not, you know, feel free to contact me at ttmx at IH Mexico. I'm going to type my, there we go, my email right there. Just feel free to contact us. TT at IH Mexico, and we'll be super happy to help. Of course, remember that just like Rosalia said, we keep giving webinars, right? And we're giving all of these wonderful things, and we have all of these wonderful, talks with different people planned for every single month. Itzel, maybe you could give us a reminder. Are you there, Itzel? A reminder of the next webinar that we have next. When is it? When is it? It's a remind us. Oh, I think you're muted. It's All
right, I'm sorry. Next webinar is gonna be this Thursday, the October the 10th. Sorry, the 8th, October the 8th. We are going to check same type of practical resources to be implemented in your classroom for the higher levels. Well, not the highest, but the higher ones. B2 first and C1 advanced. So don't miss it because Rosalia is going to be talking about these wonderful resources, just as she has been doing these last 2 webinars. And we are going to check the most sophisticated ones for writing and speaking. So don't miss it. It's going to be at 4:30 and same channel.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yeah. So remember, thank you for that, Itzel. And so remember, it's our university, International House University Media Room. Just go to the link, that I posted in the chat box, and feel free to register. And also people are asking about certificates. Yes, Xiomar and Marisela, every single time that you register, and that's why it's very important to register, guys, right? That's why it's very important to go to the website, ihmexico.mx, IH Media Room, because every single time you register, first of all, you receive access to the what do you call it? You get access to this link, right? Because every single link is going to be different and it's going to be personalized. When you register, you get an individual personalized link. That is the link that you need to click on to get access to these webinars. And then when you attend those webinars, then we will be issuing those certificates for you guys. So that's why it's very important not to share the link, because if you share your individual link, you're not getting, whoever is using that link will not be getting a certificate. You need to use the link that you receive because that's an individualized link, right? When do we send the certificates? We send them approximately around 4 to 5 days after the webinar. So if you haven't received the webinar from last October the 1st, don't worry, these are coming your way soon, potentially tomorrow, guys, right? So don't worry.
Yes.
We have your details. Don't share the link. Register individually and join us next time on Thursday. And we'll be very happy to be with you on Thursday again. Thank you again, once again, to our friends from Cambridge Assessment English. Monica, thank you very much. Rosalia, thank you very much. Itzel, thank you very much. And
thank you, Orlando. Just to add to your last comment, yes, you will be getting your certificate from last session this week. You are getting it along with Rosalia's links and materials presented. So wait for it to your email, to the email you use for registration, as long as this one, the one you attended today. That's right.
Exactly. Yeah, remember, you're getting it only if you attend. So that's very important, all right? So thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Orlando. Thank you, Itzel and Rosalia.
Bye.
Bye.
See you on Thursday.
See you on Thursday.
Bye. Thank you, guys.